Hello, welcome back to Product Like It's Friday, where we actually do product stuff now.
Actually, on a Friday.
Actually, on a Friday, yes. So I guess the last time we weren't doing product. So last Friday we were just here for friendship, which is interesting. I think it was our longest stream.
Yeah. Two longest streams in a row. One of them was just
True.
yours, 2 hours 50 minutes, and then we had the 3 hours 10 minutes
New
friendship
record.
stream. Yeah.
um, so I'm honestly myself, I don't remember a lot about like where we left off on Cocoon. So I will do the refresher, but I'm also just piecing it together as we go.
Hmm.
I believe last time when I came on here by myself was I think I fleshed out most of the UI for the mood tracking slash journaling um, app. So let me share my screen, and I think we were ready to like start coding. Feel free to move us around.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll keep an eye out. I think we're okay.
Yeah, I think we're
Wait.
good.
Okay. Hold on. No. Wait a minute. Sorry. Go ahead. Do your thing. Don't.
Okay. So I think last time we were just mocking up the mood tracker, and TLDR. I kept emphasizing like a couple of times in the same session how much I don't care about the visuals at this point.
Mm.
Like this, I would not be delighted to use this, but I would be delighted if it works. And that's what I care about right now. So I'm not spending a lot of time just thinking about the feel for the app right now. Um, I do care about usability and accessibility at this point, but not as much on the visual side. So the flow is when you are here. I mean, if you are not a first time user, you would see a screen, something like this, where you essentially have a log of previous snapshots. I mean, language TBD, but for now I'm calling them mood snapshots. And you can get a sense of like your last couple checkings, and you can also easily add a new snapshot. So the main flow here is just what that looks like. What does a mood snapshot look like? And the first, I guess the first screen is just like a simple like how are you doing, and this is a slider. Um, I mean, we can talk about how many steps in the slider, but essentially it's, you know, it corresponds to like a word. um, and I don't necessarily want to show the number, but obviously we need to think about it in terms of like some sort of scale here. And then, wait, how do I hide? Oops, that's not what I meant to do.
Who do
Um,
you want? Who do you want to hide?
I'm not trying. No, I want to hide my comments just because they
Okay.
are like hiding the, the interface.
Got it.
And then there's also like we talked about like it's complicated being out of scope for now. But this week I have been thinking about like diving into like the design for this flow as well, because this week has been complicated, and I guess I anticipate that I will want to click on it and get upset if it goes nowhere. Um, but for now, it's out of scope, and you choose like how you're doing in general, and then you can select specific feelings that are coming up. And at this point, you can still change, how you're feeling. Like let's say you said you're doing great, and then you look at the list and you're like, actually, maybe not that great. You can adjust, and then the list of I guess mood or feelings will change depending on which, I guess, step on the scale you are on. This is a multi-select, um, and yeah, I think I also added some notes around like if it's a neutral mood, use like different colors for different uh, side of the spectrum. And then once you are done, you can continue. And then this part is the journaling side of things, where by default you can start typing. You can say, I'm feeling optimistic, blah blah blah. And this is where like it can be as ranty or as structured as the person wants. The person being me, so it will probably be ranty and all over the place. But that's kind of the point. Um, and then an alternative way of inputting, and I think we'll talk about it today, is like saying the thoughts out loud rather than typing. I'm just reading my note from past self, future consideration. Ah, yes. I had thought about like, oh, what if like somebody start typing and then they're like, I want to speak instead. I think I wrote potential solution, just hide it once the user has started one method or another. um, but just something to think about. And then based on like what the user, aka me, input here, um, Cocoon should be able to, I guess, detect some, I don't know, themes of like what specifically is contributing to these feelings. Um, I want more categories. I feel like this does not capture does not capture all that there is, that contribute to how we feel. But for now, this is just what I came up with. Um, yeah, I want to hide. I want to hide annotations too. Sorry, annotation. I don't remember my shortcuts, which is why. Okay, and then once you have, so these would be suggested, but the user should also be able to like, if they're like, actually, work is not a part of it, they should be able to deselect and select whatever they do feel are related. And then they finish and they are back on this page. And this is just a calendar view of like past snapshots. Um, and then I think I wrote some notes about like all the different pieces of data in one mood snapshot with some question marks. um, yeah, that's where we're at. I think we had talked about like it being in a pretty good state for coding to commence. Um, and then I also mentioned just a little bit earlier that I think I do want to start mapping out what its complicated looks like. I don't think it's going to be complicated of a flow for this, but I do want to like just start thinking about that at least. Um, thoughts?
Yeah, a few questions, I guess, right off the bat for me. Um, do you think that the mood score can be non-integer, like a more granular decimal, like 1.27?
Ooh.
Or was there a different thought in your mind when you sort of thought about it being an integer? Just curious.
Um, I thought integer because I thought maybe that's easier, but that's
Oh, okay.
my assumption.
Okay, so maybe there's something I can play around with during implementation to see what what it feels like. And then I know that you had earlier presented a list of feelings that we have
Yes.
on the second screen, is this available in, I couldn't find it in this Figma, so I'm not sure.
Yes. So the feelings are on the Notion page, but I will get them to Figma somehow.
And then okay, great. And then yeah, even a screenshot or multiple screenshots of what you have is fine. Um, I might, yeah, I might play around with sourcing certain feelings. We might even be able to leverage AI on that front, in addition to what you already have. Um, and then, no, I think from a high level implementation perspective, I feel like I have mostly what I want. One question is, uh, the header you have kind of left as a gap
Mm-hmm.
up top. Is that where sort of the logo would go otherwise?
I think I did this because when I preview
Oh,
it, uh,
got it. Yeah, on your phone.
yeah. Well, I need to like add a device, but I think that was why. Where are my
What is your device, by the
devices?
way, as a reminder?
My device is a iPhone Pro 16, I think.
Okay, iPhone Pro 16. Got it.
Wait, how do I? Where is the? Okay, I am. Where's my prototype? There it is. Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but
Okay, so we were all right. No worries. No worries. Okay, so I'll. I
but
mean,
it's making space for the island essentially.
got it. So it's island space. Do
But it
you?
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like this
Okay.
either.
Okay, got it. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, maybe we can throw in a kind of a global header, maybe
Yeah.
just to see what it feels like. It might change the spacing, but oh, we can play around with it. No worries. And then let's see here.
Should I find it?
Um, data in the mood snapshot, I guess, because you have weather and location. So things that a user probably might have to share
Mm, right.
with the
Yes.
device or manually enter. But I guess because I don't see a manual enter thing here, we're assuming that we'll get these kind
Yeah.
of by um, automation permission at some point. Okay, so something to think about. Um, okay, yeah, I don't think I have too many more questions.
Okay. Let
Um,
me get. I will get the feelings thing somehow exported because I think that could be helpful
mhm,
at this
mhm.
point. Um, you had mentioned that. Oh yeah, what did you think about? I guess voice versus text input.
Um, Remind me why you have text as the main setting, or the what seems like in the main flow, versus and voice as a secondary.
Because I use typing more than
Even on your
voice.
phone.
No, not on my phone. I'm like when I'm journaling, I'm actually usually using my iPad,
Ah, interesting.
which is
Okay. Okay.
interesting because I
Yeah,
design for mobile.
exactly. That's what I was thinking, because what seemed instinctive to me was, and yeah, like I don't know about, maybe there's a generational thing where certain people maybe are more comfortable on their keyboard on an iPhone. I know I'm not as fluent in that, although there's like swiping typing, which I tend to use on my Android. But either way is fine, honestly. I think
Do you like, I mean, I know you said you don't journal, but like if you could choose, like what would you use?
um on a phone it would, I might default to voice if it was available just to even test. But if I was on my computer,
Yeah.
I would type. I'm not an like a iPad user, so what do you like when you're on your iPad? Are you typing? Oh, do you use it as like a with a keyboard attachment?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I like the typing because it's discreet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and you can do it anytime, right? Like
Yeah. Got
if
it.
you're like
Okay.
feeling a certain way in the middle of the night, you don't have to be disruptive.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. I mean, in my approach, just building it out, I'll probably um, build it out from a mobile point of view, like you've designed it, and then just maybe go into that iPad mode every once in a while to see what it's looking like, um, and that may give you some insider clues into maybe how you want to treat the UI per device.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Otherwise, there's a bunch of things that I'll need to figure out here ourselves. Where like even with, let's say, um, the AI play we want to make here in certain spaces, and then um, the voice stuff on a browser. I haven't played around with it at all, and I'm gonna make it sort of browser mobile based to start, and then we can, once we have like a flow and feel of it, we can start imagining what it might look like on a phone, and whether there's other like phone based APIs or iPad based APIs that we need to consider. Um,
Okay.
and then I have on my screen, and I don't know if this is true for, it says request sent.
Wait,
I
what?
don't know how much access I have here. Let me just see if I can move something around. Maybe I'm not supposed to, and that's fine. Um, uh,
Are you a
let's
designer?
see. you know, it's been it's been a point of debate. uh,
What do you want to move?
I don't know. You sound offended. You're like,
No, it's
you're like,
I
this is a pixel perfect design, and then what?
no,
Could
it's
you?
not a
I was just
like I
curious.
don't
I don't
like this.
know.
What's going on here? But if you want access, I will have to pay for your seat.
Oh, I see. It's a okay. That's no. I think it might be a holdover from Honeypot where I thought I was gonna, I requested access, and maybe I feel like we discussed it, but somewhere in my heart I was like, maybe I can be an equal. But no, I fully understand. And then this great thing here, do you have these grades otherwise
Yeah, if
somewhere?
you, I can you see annotations?
I cannot. I was actually going to ask that next. Is there a way for me? Is there some thing I need to turn on?
Do you want to share your screen? Because I'm not
Sure,
sure what it looks like for you.
sure. I can share my screen. Okay. All right. We have a view of my screen here now, and I see this. So I don't see this like the magic button
Hmm,
with your option selections that you have,
it's interesting. It's
and
annotations is a new feature, so I'm also like
only
not
for
as
cool
sure
only for
how
cool
it
people.
works.
I
Can
see.
you try like Shift Y?
Shift Y. Annotations hidden, it says. Shift Y again. Annotations visible. Where am I supposed to see them?
Um, what's the little like green thing on the top of the like what's that? Oh, that's wait. Huh. Interesting.
It wants it wants me to go into dev mode to see the annotations.
Oh, really?
It says one annotation in dev mode. One annotation in dev mode. Get the details just right.
Okay, that's
And then we come
a
back here.
Figma money grab.
Are you against Figma making money? Are you? They need to eat. Okay. The Figma
No.
people, they're,
Okay, I will put them in comments instead.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
But yes, they exist.
Okay, and additionally, okay, then I guess the comments will begin to reveal things. And then let's see. Under discovery, there's nothing on this. UI exploration is empty. Wires, so we have the wire framing aspects, some screenshots that you have from other things, so but not, I guess, not as relevant to us here. And then I think you've additionally shared with me the Notion link, which I feel like I'm okay to open.
Yeah.
Here, oh, it's a PDF.
Yeah, I mean, I can
Wow.
give it to you as a CSV, but
No, that's fine.
We're not like just like we're not just using it, right? Like it's more just for reference.
Right. No, that's great. Are you
Or would you
okay,
rather?
that's fine.
I mean, I guess I can just move the whole table here.
Into Figma?
No, into
When you say
Notion.
here? Oh,
into
into
Notion.
or like a Notion page that you can share with me.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I think that might be helpful
Okay.
for me to copy paste things over. Is there a way that you can leave a link to that Notion page on Figma somewhere that I can kind of, as almost as a Figma bookmark, if you will,
Yeah.
please? And I feel like that's it. And anything else I guess I can ask as we go. Okay, looking here. Yeah, okay. The other thing I guess I want to get a sense of. Okay, so we got card, we got header. I was trying to see maybe on the side view here if I get any indication on. Great, so it says card here, which indicates that it's a card or a card element from Prime View. And then I guess I can click through the other components. Button primary. And the information for that button is here. Okay. No, that works for me. I was able to set up Prime View on my template. So we'll see how that goes as well. So command click, command click, command click. So there's a header, there's a body, and there's a footer. Can I select just the footer here by option click? Yeah, I can. Okay, great. Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay. Any other comments from you before I begin then?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right, cool. So I spent some time earlier, a couple of weeks ago, I believe, and then sometime again today, just updating the Nux template I had. And then I will try and use dgit to Nux template, if I can spell, Cocoon. And let's see if this works. I did push this to my Git repo. Not that it matters. I could copy paste this and dgit myself manually, which I'd done for Honeypot. But is it done? It says cloned, but it hasn't given me a. Hasn't given me anything yet. I might move us for production purposes here. Oh, there you go. It took a second. I want to move us down here, I think. No? What did I just do? What did I just do? I reset changes. Okay, let's try again. I'll click us. There we go. Okay. Okay, I guess maybe down here. I'm just noticing that if I'm up here in the middle of the code, I'm interrupting the code. How does this feel to you? Does this feel wrong?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Not that I'm. And then what if we did this? Ooh.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't dislike it. And I guess at some point we can. What if I turn the names off? I feel like.
We can be nobodies.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just playing right now, just for a few seconds. Okay, I'm okay. I don't love this because I feel like a part of me. Okay, no, I think it's fine. I think we could try it because I feel like I want to give the code like more space. But let's see how this feels like once I load. Maybe something that has. So I have 30. I think the thing is like 30 lines is good because I want the code size to be fairly legible. Oops. I think this is fine. This 35 lines and hopefully visible. Just trying to get a sense of how we can maximize visibility. And I'm going to be looking here. I guess this looks like I'm looking at the screen. I can't tell because my view is here. Okay, great. Awesome.
It looks like we're both looking at it.
Okay, I think that's cool. I think we could try this setup out and see what it feels like as we go. Okay, so I have Cocoon here. I've been messing with my I guess I'm a little disappointed here. Oh, here, PNPM. I forgot. Excuse me. After the dgit, I couldn't understand why I was getting those errors. It's because I haven't installed the packages. And then this should. Additionally, I think I will here run PNPM dev. PNPM I should have built out any of the typings, but definitely starting the server will do the job as well. And now when I come back here, I don't expect to see those errors that I was seeing before. Earlier, I was having some issues with my Vim setup, so I had to make some changes that I wasn't thrilled with, but we have a functional system here now. Okay, great. And then when I come back here and I run it, I just have sort of these things I've copied from the Prime View site. Just component examples. So the buttons, I just copy them from here to here just to make sure that things were working fine. Here's some alert messages or just messages. And because I'm not as familiar with Prime View, we were using Nux UI last time. So there'll be a lot of similar kind of component discovery bits as we go. The other thing I want to take a look at quickly is what this feels like. So you said iPhone 16 Pro. So this is not that, but I am curious to see. Is there an edit? Can I just add custom? Oh, default devices. I don't see an iPhone 16 in this list. Can I add a custom device? I can. iPhone, because I wouldn't mind it being fairly accurate. Add iPhone 16 Pro to Chrome. I was hoping I would find the exact thing I wanted by this point. Custom devices, Chrome custom devices. Custom devices. Okay. This is for example, but doesn't give me the exact things I want. And then maybe I'll take a quick. I know this is very disappointing. And then maybe I can take a quick look here. Okay, they seem to have some device settings. They don't have 16, but maybe iPhone 15 might be good enough.
Fresh.
Yeah. Like this Pro Max viewport.
I don't have a Max.
Yeah, let me see iPhone Pro 16 viewport size. Because I'm a bit confused. I mean, like, am I supposed to be using this or this? So viewport is this. So maybe I can just use that here, and we'll see what it looks like. I mean, yeah. I mean, is this worth spending this much time? Maybe. I feel like it's it's not terrible. I don't. Hold on. iPhone 16 Pro user agent. No.
What does user agent mean?
When you access a server, we might not need it here, but maybe we do. The browser sends a user agent string to the server side. I'm actually not sure how it's used on the browser side, because the browser is where that string is being generated. The browser sends it to the server, and then that way the server can determine whether you're using Chrome or Bing, or I mean not Bing, but whatever, Netscape, Firefox, Safari, etc. It has those details, and then it has additional details about the device as well, depending on the browser. Different browsers will send different details. So here's some user agent examples. So there's some information about the device itself, iPhone, so forth and so on, and versions and what have you. It's a wild mix though. Like, there's so much legacy stuff here. Like, for example, I mean, I don't know why, like, they start with Mozilla, for example, even though the browser is Safari. I know I don't remember why. I know I looked into it a long time ago, but it's just kind of built on through legacy sort of things. But this indication will say, okay, it's Safari on iPhone, or it's Safari on iPad, and so on. Like the OS version is here as well. So I don't know whether that will impact what we're doing here, but I wouldn't mind setting it. So did I? Um, Safari user agent. I know that the first Gemini thing we came across um, did have the user agent. I feel like this might be good enough to copy. I think for our purposes, it's while it might not be exact and it's AI generated, but I think it should be fine. And then I'll add this device here, and then let's see what it looks like at 100%. A little off my screen at 100%. So can I? I don't love it at 75, but I wonder. Actually, this is 100. I just want to see the bottom of it.
You can do like
Um,
fit to something. Fit to
yeah,
height.
we can fit to window. It'd be nice if I could see bottom of it at 100, and I don't know. So this is fine, actually. I don't because I haven't like like I'll go in and out of this mode, but I typically don't live in it. And maybe and my thought is, for this project to just stay in this mode. Um, and then like for example, how do I scroll down here? Like, is there
Mm.
because now it's down here if I'm debugging. So I was just trying to figure out sort of certain logistical aspects, but um, that's fine. It's not a huge deal. Yeah, because like I can't, like I believe I have to remain in dev mode in order to see it. Things like that. But like when I'm actually working on some mobile stuff, I will go in and out. Auto adjust zoom. So I said don't auto adjust zoom. Fit. Like when I do this, how do I get down there? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's just I'm curious, and maybe there's some off stream learning that I have to do as part of that. Okay. The other thing I think I should do. Oh yeah, I'm in the next config. Let's see font size. I set the font size as 12. I think I want to make it 14 as a default base. That feels a little bit better to me. But see, like I don't want to, like a lot of my thing is visual feeling based on 100%. Like I'm like, oh, I should add more padding or not. And if I'm not at 100%, it just feels weird. That's fine. I think I will keep it at 100%, and I'll usually, and I'll go in and out of this. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, this looks great. So these are one thing. Oh, okay. I guess the thing like when.
I was gonna say like because when I was doing, I guess design on Figma, it was helpful for me to like mirror it on my device and just see how it feels. Is there a way to do that when you're coding as well, or?
I haven't done it, but typically what I could do is um, make this accessible um, through the Wi-Fi. I think if I do something like so, I started the dev machine like this. If I do host on, why did I type honest? Jeez, host name. I don't want to. This is. I don't like this. I don't like that at all.
What is this saying about you?
I don't like that at all. Like what if it was something else that I typed, or what if it was something inappropriate I end up typing, and then it just wow, what a disaster.
It's like your fingers went on autopilot for some reason.
Yeah, honest. What? That's my least favorite word. Okay, so maybe not host name, actually host, I believe. It gives me this, and then I should be able to access on the same Wi-Fi through this on my phone. So that I could do. but I don't have an iPhone 16
Oh no,
Pro Max.
damn it.
Okay,
This is
I-
we should have done this when we were in person.
yeah, or ship me your phone. That's the best. That's the best way to do it. No, it's fine. I'll slowly figure it out. I'm just kind of reorienting myself as we're starting a new thing, and then I think what I'll even begin by doing very similar to the last time. So this landing page can just be a test page for now. Um, but I wouldn't mind. So if the whole app is Cocoon, let's just say, and the initial kind of sub app is Mood. So maybe I'll begin by creating a mood.index.view. Um, it's not what I expected to see. Ah, here it is. And maybe I can just copy some little bits here and see how this feels. Didn't want that. I might need to play with my ESLint and formatting tools at some point. Um, I'll just begin with actually mood. All right. Probably don't want that either, just as a starting point, and then I should be able to do /mood here and see what this looks like. And so I'll start sort of playing around with the layouts, throwing elements in there based on the Figma, and figure it out. I this is mildly embarrassing. Um, Even though I thought I did, and I know I did, but I'm gonna need a washroom break, Mary. Like I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go pee.
Oh,
So you're gonna have to.
that's fine. I will
You're
do some I'll do
yeah,
some design stuff.
if you don't mind, and I'll be back in like 2 seconds. It's gonna be 2 seconds.
Yeah,
It
no
won't be more
worries.
than that. So if you'll give me 2 seconds, please.
All right. Let me share my screen. I think I'm still. Am I still sharing? Okay, I am sharing my screen. All right. So I was actually just starting to go back to Figma because I was like, I can't just sit here and stare at the screen, right? Like I gotta contribute. No, I'm kidding. So I'm doing a little bit of. I want to do some design work on the It's Complicated flow, and I don't. Again, I don't think it's a complicated flow, but how I'm thinking about it, especially because this week I've had a lot of up and down things, and it's not purely like I had an up day and a down day. It was more like I would have one day that I have a whole mixed bag of different feelings, and like if I saw this, I would be like, ah, I don't know, like I guess I would put myself in the middle, but it doesn't really capture, um, I guess, the complexity of what's going on in my life, and how I'm thinking about it is originally I thought maybe when it's complicated, one approach would be if if I just see a bigger range of emotions. So, like in the default flow, you would see the range of emotions that match whatever the level you're at. And I thought maybe like you can see a bigger range where it's like you have a little bit of the amazing stuff and you have a little bit of the shitty stuff and you have a little bit of the okay stuff. But upon, I guess, reflecting on this week and how I've been feeling, which I am not going to talk about in detail, but let's just say it's been complicated. I guess upon reflecting on that, I think I would be pretty overwhelmed if I say it's complicated and then I'm just tossed into this, like, I guess, ocean of feelings. And I'll be like, no, get me out of here. I'm not ready to, like, figure out how I'm feeling. So, because we're designing for me, I actually think a more reasonable approach could be to jump straight into journaling. So some way of acknowledging, like, so yeah, so it's complicated, huh? Again, let's ignore the language. So you're feeling complicated, and I feel like whenever I feel a whole spectrum of different feelings, it's much harder to answer the question of like, okay, like how are you feeling? Like I'm just gonna be like, I don't know, like I have no idea. Um, so I think what I would rather answer is more facts, like what's going on in your world, like what's going on in your life or something. Okay, life is a bit too big. So maybe like what's going on right now, what's been going on or something. Um, Welcome back.
Oh, hello. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, it's fine. I was just starting to, before you left, I actually just opened Figma back up, and I was like, let me do some design work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was a good timing.
Do
Um,
you just want to continue doing design work? Is this because I feel like you were in the thick of it, and
um, I mean, I could, but it's
what
not.
up
It's
to
not
you.
gonna be it. Like, there's not a lot to it.
Okay.
That's the other thing. Like, I was just saying that, like, when it's complicated, like, I don't want to be asked how I'm feeling because it's like I already
Yeah.
said it's complicated. So I was thinking it could be good to like jump into easier to answer, like more free form, like questions, like what,
Hmm.
like facts about like what's going on in your life, rather than being like, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? Which
Yeah.
um, so more asking about like what's going on in your life, and then using that to guide whatever happens next.
Do you
um,
have a current process for, I guess, feelings flow in a sense like this, or like a mood flow where, like, do you have it, and it's complicated, like in your, whatever current or past processes you've used to dig into your own mood. Um, is there a way that you've dealt with is complicated in the past?
Somewhat. So I guess the therapy exercise that started all of this
Hmm.
had considerations for having multiple moods being in the mix. But I think what it does not the best job of is like it asks you like uh, well, I think some of it is good, some of it is difficult. So it asks you like how are you feeling, and then like when you have a complicated set of feelings, um, it asks about like what's the strongest feeling, um,
Mm.
which sometimes it's hard to tell. I mean, or maybe I'm an overthinker. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't know what's the strongest feeling. Like I don't know
Right.
what's the best to resolve.
Right.
But like maybe the whole point is that it's not something that's measurable anyway. It's more just like what do you feel is the hardest thing to cope with right now. So I don't know. I don't have a clear, I guess, path right now.
Okay.
But I'm happy to hand it back to you for a bit.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. I'm. Let me. Is this already my screen? Oh wow, that was quick. Okay, because I was already sharing it. Okay. Um. Right. Where were we? We were here and sort of having a slash mood page to go to, and I guess this will be um, our mood layout. Um, and I'll work sort of in this page, and then I'm just thinking, I'm trying to assess. overall what I want here. One thing that I like to do, and we did this with Honeypot as well, is to also get a sense of like what the URL breakdown would be for each screen. I generally tend not to like apps where you do this, you go to this, and then if you're refreshed, it would pop you back over here instead.
Yeah.
Like if I want to, like if I refresh the page here, I want to stay here.
Yeah.
And that is typically, I mean, the cleanest way of doing that is through a URL breakdown of the navigation and the path through the app. So I also don't want to use numbers for them. So I'll just have to think a little bit about, or maybe you can as well. It's like, what we might call these pages or these screen views. And that can then, I guess, become the page's name. Something like this, though, like that's fine. Like I wouldn't necessarily have a different URL. This will toggle sort of that, but these ones should have a different URL. So yeah, like I'm gonna keep it very straightforward for now, and maybe these things can be renamed later. So this is, and again, yeah, I think I'm okay doing that. How r-u dot view. Yeah, that works for me. And then, like just starting super basic, still trying to get my head around what I want to do. And then I'll just start building out some aspects of these that aren't necessarily functional or connected logically, but do give me a scaffolding of the components that I'll be working with. And then playing around with it, I'll get into the logic side of it, and then later think about the server side. So I do want to come at it from a UI first point of view. So here, and this is sort of helpful, I guess, with Prime View, being able to see, okay, we're dealing with a card here, and then, excuse me, I guess what I expected to see here or like card options, but maybe cards don't have that many options. They do have a header and a body, so that's all being designated here. And I haven't used Prime View cards before, so again, that's that kind of rediscovery process, similar to how we went with Next UI. There's a slider component here, and this one does have options, and then I'll become familiar with those. So it's really just familiarizing myself with the elements. And I'm going to hardcode Mary.
I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask if
No,
that's something you care about right now.
No, no, this is great. It's what I want.
Wait, but if I share it with somebody,
they're gonna have to change their name to Mary. I guess that's tough luck.
that's funny.
Yeah, like I think when we did Honeypot, there wasn't this idea of like an account or a person who's kind of just like go in there, start a new game. Whereas here, there might be some thinking around how we tie to a user, and that might become more important. And maybe that's something you also want to think about, Mary, just in the maybe in the back of your mind about how we want to set that up, because that becomes important to store the data for. Because if it's just one person, so okay, I guess that's something. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, finish your thoughts.
No, it wasn't. It's not even a thing. Go ahead.
Is there a cost to not considering that right
It's
now?
not. No, it's not a lot. It's not a lot, and it can be added later on without too big an issue. I think either way is fine. Um, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, cool.
Um,
Sorry, I do have to have like a side convo. I'll be back in
okay,
a
no
minute.
worries. No worries. Okay. Um, okay, so let's get this card in here. I'm not 100% sure what to do with the space just yet, so I might make the card just take the full screen and then we'll adjust what to do here later, or this might emerge out of the layout kind of view. So that's fine. Okay. And just because I'm sort of starting a new project, kind of reorienting myself in terms of getting into the workflow, you'll notice I'll have like a bunch of hesitation before I start something, because I think sometimes my mind is trying to think about multiple things at once, which just prevents me from sort of taking action. So it looks like I'm just staring at my screen. Happened with Honeypot as well, is just, I think, a part of how I get familiar with what I'm building or what I'm going to build. Okay, so it has these slots for header, footer, and what have you. And then content is, I guess, the body. And I don't know whether it has these sort of facilities of like these dashes or these borders coming in here. So I'm just gonna. Oh, I thought maybe there would be more here, but there isn't. Okay, I guess I'll just pull things in bit by bit. So this header, which is different than title, which I'm not seeing. Just want to make sure that I'm not, missing it. Like there isn't a border here. And yeah, even to start off, I might not even focus on the minor details, maybe come back to them later. So this stuff shows up in the footer, but no. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, I'll figure. This is the process where I'm trying to like process some thoughts before I jump in. But maybe I'll just copy paste this card here, and we'll go from there. So. And then, yeah, I just have my spell check on, which means like these words are underlined because they're not US English. And I mean, I guess there's an argument to be made that I should not have it on, but that's fine. We will also figure that out as we go. And so this begins to look like this over here. Okay, yeah. So there's some padding here. There's a background here. Let me see if I can hone into what that background is, if it has a background color. Slate 50. So not too familiar with Prime View. So we'll see if I can't figure, like, I guess that should go in app. But that has layout next page. And I need to remind myself how to deal with next layouts, whether I need to be creating. So I create a default layout. Under layouts, default. And then the slot becomes everything inside. The other thing I suppose I could do is apply the background to the body, which I feel like, I mean, we might still need a layout later, but I also feel like maybe I can begin by slate 50. So let me just see what this feels like. BG slate 50 is a color. And so that's great. So just, getting a sense of where things are. So I can probably just go to main CSS and apply this here. And I can say BG slate 50. And I feel like I should see that change here. And we do. And now there's that distinction. So now this border becomes a little bit more visible. And I need some padding around it as well. So we're getting that little, this looks like a window. And generally that padding seems to be consistent across all elements. So it is app padding. So let me see if I can't get what that is. That's 8 pixels on either side. I'm actually okay maybe just applying it to body for now. So px2, and that's 8 pixels. And I'll probably want, there isn't a clear indication here because of this space, but this space at the bottom will give us an idea of like, that's also 8. So 8 all around. Let's go 8 all around. And we can play around with that. So now that gives us a little bit of distinction up here and at the bottom. And this card, I want to take the full width of the screen. And I don't know how to style these. Okay, so it seems like I can throw styles in here forcefully, which means I should be able to add classes here. Again, haven't really dealt with these. Well, I'll accept this max W FSM. I don't know if that's what I want, but we'll do W full. And let's try and figure out why that's happening. So that's body. So I think body I'll have to also make full perhaps by default, or like H. It's because I said W, not H to begin. I don't know if that's the case. It isn't. What if I did 8 screen? Like I'm not probably in the right spot here, but oh no, that works. That might also be the wrong thing to do. I'm giving this little scroll here. And maybe here's where I can sort of do fit to window to see. And that scroll should not be there. I'm not sure why. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure why that is happening. That's fine. I think 8 screen. Right. I guess I'm trying to get a sense of 8 screen is viewport height. So that's fine. 8 screen is the right thing. But what if I said 8 screen on body and then H full here? Will that get rid of the scroll? I mean, it will because it's not full. So I will need to trace my way all the way up again now because there's multiple elements in between. So here's my card element, which lives in Nuxt, which lives in body. So I think underscore Nuxt is one I need to style. I think we went through something similar with Honeypot as well. So we'll do this here, and then that's not what I want. I don't even know I accepted AI's thing, and then immediately saying I don't want that. Although for now, let's just do this. So this is H screen, right on body. This is H full, and then this is H full. So now I think I have the entire chain, which gives me this, and then I bring this down here. And now, yeah, there's no scroll. That's just kind of the little drag bit. And I'm actually fairly happy with how that's turned out. And then I think here, this is my page, which is directly in this Nuxt thing. And now I think later on, if I do want other elements, let me just play around with that. So this, yeah, we'll do a bunch of playing around initially. Again, just me familiarizing myself with the environment. So if I did want, say, flex call, yeah, that sounds good. Maybe a gap of 2 instead of what's suggested here. And then even if I did add something called just Lala, just for me to get a sense of what and how this would be. So now I've lost my fullness here. So do I need to give this a height in order to have that balance? Because I thought I thought Flex would respect the H full here. What am I missing? Ah, yeah, of course. This needs to be H full as well. And now that makes sense. So yeah, okay. So that's that little, if I did want that little space up top to begin, I think in my heart what I was going towards, even though I didn't like, I want to make sure that I'm ready for that and not dealing with those issues later. No scroll, because I think mid honeypot, I had to deal with the entire chain of all these elements that I put in there in order to get the right height and width. So I think just it wasn't explicit to me, but I think that's what my body wanted to do. But for now, I think I'm happy without it. I might just keep this additive here. No. Wait. I heard Mike.
How do you feel about starting a new thing in general? Like, just like, because we spent a month and a half on the last project. I mean, we started this a couple weeks ago, but
yeah. You mean the coding aspect, like fingers on the keyboard? Yeah. Well, before maybe I answer, how did you feel when you were like on a blankish canvas, although you did have some history and thinking behind it?
I think weirdly, like, because there was history, it felt like I felt more hesitant.
Interesting.
When there isn't history, it's more like, let's dive in,
Yeah,
There's
fair,
no baggage,
fair.
I guess.
Yeah.
But I think after the initial like hump, it's definitely a lot easier to pick up momentum.
Yeah, for me, it's really just trying to figure out, because I have no code. Like, like once you have some kind of base scaffolded elements, you have something to flow into. And same thing with honeypot. I think it's hard for me to remember early on, but yeah, I think in any project, there's that little hump or hill you climb kind of, and then you're like, okay, now I have better view, or a better bird's eye view.
That like before you started today, of like, oh, like like, is there anything else I need before I start?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had this conversation. Was it earlier today? Was it yesterday? I don't remember. But like, hey, what are we like? Am I going to code, or like, do you have more design? Just because I don't. And then I did spend
mentally ready.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Like, I don't want to, especially on stream. I think I'm less concerned about it generally, but on stream, I kind of want to be like, okay, like, okay, I have everything installed. I don't want to like, in this case, I had my kind of template repo set up, and so I wasn't fiddling with like installing Prime View, for example. Like, it's already set up, and now I'm playing with the components. I at least wanted that, just so that kind of there's less of a distance getting started. And then the rest of it it'll be fiddling until I feel like, oh yeah, I feel like now I have things to connect and work through. But for now, I think just working through these screens, getting used to like the buttons, the slider, all that stuff is gonna, the emojis, everything is sort of a question mark for me right now. So I'll just trying to touch the code to see like, oh, I know where things are, like it's like going to a new kitchen. You don't know where the plates are, you don't know where the pans are, and you're like, do I have to organize this kitchen, or this is over here, let me put it here. What are the settings on this microwave? That kind of stuff is sort of what
I guess I spent a bit of time just like throwing all the components in one place and then like figuring it out.
Exactly. So that's where I am. And I do want to see here. I don't see a border. Is that in content maybe? Or the body? So there's a border here. Now I'm not sure. I saw Mary on the bottom of the screen here. This is great. Okay. That's good. No, that's funny. I think I did that by mistake earlier when I came back. I just wanted Like I didn't want to like, and I think my mouse must have like come across the screen, and I think that's how you notice. I'm like, but I didn't want to interrupt at that time. So there's a border here in the body. So part of me, like I want to figure out at least this scaffolding here of this card, because that is used literally on all the rest of the screen. So I feel like getting the layout set up, and getting sort of these minor elements will make me feel good about where we're going. So I don't, because the card here doesn't have a whole bunch of examples. Um, I'm curious whether, like, for example, something like panel has them. It doesn't, like, there's no border stuff. There's no examples for me to kind of work off of that. Feel like, oh yeah, this is how the recommended way of doing it with this UI toolkit is. So I'll just kind of play around a little bit. The other thing I want to get a sense of is like text Excel. I think that's good. DM Sans. Okay. So, excuse me. Yeah. I think I had just copied, not copied necessarily, but like used whatever the default thing people like to use. But if I go to DM Sans here, I should be able to, okay, I should be able to use that. And then in the main.css, also do that. I don't know if I have to restart my server, but might as well. And that's that. And then the font size here is Excel. That's fine. I think I'll come back to this as I'm actually doing the stuff here. But for now, I just want to figure out this. So I'll start off by putting in a div here that has border. And I don't even remember how to do borders in Tailwind anymore. So let's just jump in here and remind myself, because I don't want borders all around. I want borders top and bottom. Borders radius width. It's like a borders general. It's fine. Color border X. The thing I thought was like border T, border, yeah, border T number, and then border B number will do, and then the height is just one, so border T1, border B1, or just border T and border B. Okay, and let's just look at some examples. Okay, so I don't need border, just border T. This will do right off the bat. So let's just get that in here. And let's see what that starts feeling like. We'll take that, paste it here. And let's see if this, so it's not full width here. So I feel like that's what I was trying to get at, is like what covers the whole thing. And this doesn't, I can't add any styling here. So it seems like I will need to style it. Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting. What does this do? I didn't know. When I was clicking pass through, I guess I was expecting something that was far more documentation like, but not like, what is this? So this is header, body. That's the whole thing. Content is this, which explains it, because when I highlight this, anything in here will already have this padding. So this is a nice way of sort of getting a sense of where I want it, but it doesn't answer my question, honestly, for when I do header, nothing gets highlighted. Footer, that gets highlighted. So anything there also won't capture a border across the whole thing. So I'm trying to see if there's any. Oh, these are the tokens, which I actually don't know where to edit them, but just as an indication of how this thing works is these are the tokens that we're using. I don't know if they can be edited or modified. And then there's a next layer here, but okay. Okay, let's dig in. Because I think what it's trying to tell me is that these things have classes already. And because I'm not using the unstyled version, and this is part of the just kind of getting familiar with what's happening. We're using style mode. We're not using unstyled mode. And maybe very quickly, it's worth for me to think, I mean, no, like I don't want to do all this work. I do want to leverage the themes. There's something like Volt, but Volt doesn't have the breadth and the depth of components. So that's fine. When we use, so here's the design tokens, for example. I don't know if those are modifiable or whether I even need to modify them. I'm trying to get a feeling for myself of like what these classes are. And so this is the whole card itself. Right? It's got a P component. So these are all the classes of this. I guess P component is a generic class that hits all prime components. This is the body. And note that the body isn't, like the card is H full because I put that there and that gets merged in to the existing classes. And then body itself is already, this is title. Okay. So I might have to play around with some of these other things to see how they materialize, to see how easy or hard it is. Okay, so now we can already see that header has no padding built in. Okay, that's good. Although again, when I was here, and I guess I hovered over this, it didn't even, maybe this thing doesn't even have a header. Now I wonder whether footer has a pre-padding, and footer has a padding already. I feel like that's weird for component, because when I look here, for example, and all I want to do is get this border in here, right? And with the header, okay, I could put this stuff in the header and get this border on the bottom of the header. I can't do that with the footer, at least what it seems for now, because of the footer kind of automatically being inside the padding area here already, right? So maybe actually let's take a look at these elements. So the header template comes up top here, which is outside the body, and the body is already pre-padded. And maybe the thing for me to do is remove that padding from here just via CSS and then re-add it to these things. Okay, let's see. Like manually add it. Okay, let's see what other. So there's root, which is everything. Header, which we can't see here. Body. And body is what? So these are the slots: header, title, subtitle, content, and footer. And body, I guess, is all of these. Like body is around all of these. And then I guess we have these pass-through options, which when I look here, and I guess, yeah, I think this is sort of me really trying to figure out what I can do with these components. And I do want to figure out the border stuff. It might seem like a lighter thing at this stage, but whatever I figure out or discover about at least this one component will probably bleed into the other components I deal with. So that's really my thinking about spending some time here, like actually familiarizing myself with what this library is giving me. Because when I look at this, I guess for this example, I don't exactly even know what goes into the pass-throughs. So let's actually go here and take a look. Here's how you could pass in some pass-through information. And this is not that different from Nux UI either, because they had a somewhat of a pass-through type thing. So here's your root classes. Here your okay, you could pass in a function that can pass in other details. Oh, wow. Okay, did not. So by default, it's class. And then if you have this function, you can do more things other than class. So you have access to all the attributes, I assume, on this header element. Not sure what options does because I don't see it scanning. I don't see it being used here. And then you don't have to use a function because the function would give you options. You could straight up use an object, back to class, and then you can have a function that returns a string if it does that. If your function returns an object, it's attributes. If your function returns a string, it's class. Okay. Oh. And then there's the declarative method of pass-throughs. So I'm assuming I could do pt :root or :header. And then an attribute. So I guess class. Okay, yeah. I could scroll down. Oh, this is interesting. Oh. Okay, cool. And then here for the entire app, you can also do kind of preset that. So I have some presets already defined in my Nuxt thing. So instead of having to do it manually for each component, we can preset it through. Okay. Yeah, I like it. But still something I have to just get my head around. Okay. Back to card here. And so in order for me to get, say, a full border that's going through here, let's take a look again. Here, so this is card content, and all of this is within card body that has, maybe I'll just, because card body, P card body. So if I'm doing pass through, it would be PT body, and then attribute PT body class. Right, let me see what this feels like. Because I don't like, does it undo everything here? So if I'd say, yeah, sure, something like, border before. Okay, this is not what I was thinking. Okay, because I did that. Class equals, what if I did border T4 and then border B4 as well? Then I don't like this. I feel like my editor should know not to complete this because there's a card down here that matches with this line. Okay, that's fine. And I guess when I did this and I'm here, it's my fault. I should get used to this. Okay. So when I do PT body class and I'm adding these borders here, and I'm making them large on purpose so they're visible. That does it. No, it doesn't. Sorry, it doesn't. Because the footer needs to have it. And the footer is within the padding. What's all this? By the way. Oh, because P card, it doesn't take the full thing. So I will probably need to add some flex bits in here. So this thing is already flexed. That's good to know. And I want this. Yeah, I feel the footer business here is really weird. And that footer should have been equivalent with header. So like I'm not thrilled with, I guess, how they handle footer. Putting it inside body is weird, where header is not inside body. And I don't know if they have a reason for that. Because they think of a header as something. So they're thinking, when they think about cards, they're thinking about it more like this, where this kind of thing is happening. And the header is really outside everything else. And so it's really designed for this look and feel. So maybe I'll look at panel to see whether this feels different. And so I don't have a footer here, but I'm wondering whether the panel's footer is this, and maybe the panel is the component that we want to use for this. And it's not clear to me yet, because a panel's footer might also just be inside here. So let's, you were going to say something, Mary?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, is it more like title than header?
Here, the whole thing is, whoops, I did not mean to close that. The whole thing is the way the card object seems to be designed. There's a few ways I can do it. So if panel isn't the right thing by default, then I'll come back to card. But yeah, the thing is, by default, they have padding on the body, which means I can't have, if I add a border to title or footer, it will be within that padding. So, there's many ways to do it. I think partially I'm just kind of also exploring the UI library. But the way to do it with the card would be to remove the padding from the body, add the borders to title and footer. And that way we have the borders we want or need. And then add the padding inside every element separately. So the padding goes away from body, and it sort of lives inside title, inside content, and inside footer. And that will give us the look and feel we want. But I'm curious to see whether panel gives us another option in considering how it handles the components. And so with panel here, they have a header example, but they don't have a footer example. And when I highlight over content, note that there's, like, it's not inside a padding either. So it might be, I think these are very similar components. And so I think panel might be the one we want to use for this ultimately. So they have a header thing here, which becomes the text inside here. But I'm also curious to see whether they have a header slot, which they do, and a footer slot, and then the default is the content. That's fine. That makes sense. So let's not do this for our purposes. Let's do template header. Yep, that sounds good. And then down here, just for visualness, although these templates theoretically could go anywhere, let's do that. And then and like visually, look at how similar these are anyway. Despite, like look at the border here. Like these are very similar components. I think card might be a little bit more specific to certain aspects. Oh yeah, I was like, why is this text looking so small? This is where my brain, like, this seems about right. And then because I did the full fit, I was like, why is this so small? Okay, that's fine. And then we can do this. Now let's add a border. Oh, so one of the things we can try is what I tried earlier, which is adding a border T, and I'll make it explicit here, over here, and then here as. So what if we just add it to the central thing? Oh no, it is padded. That's because the panel is padded, but the header is not, and then the footer is not. That's perfect. So that means that that stuff goes inside header and footer. And the only other thing is, that's interesting note how header is padded everywhere equally, but footer does not have a top padding. Not a big deal. It's just something to know. Okay. So it seems like panel is the component that we want to use because it at least treats header and footers as equals and not as sort of specific usage elements. And so I should be able to do PT header class border B4 for now, sure. And then I will want this H full here. I think I feel comfortable removing card now. That's good. And then I'll have to keep in mind the flex business going on because I want the body to push header and footer to the edges. And so that's panel content. And the whole thing is flex. And I assume it's a flex call. So I should be able to manage that through the pass-through. So this is great. And I like that I can do it all through here. And I'm okay for the most part copy pasting this panel until we figure out that this should be all panels by default across the whole system. So that's fine. And then I want to say footer and do a border T. And now it just hugs here, which is fine. So I can get rid of this here. I'm just keeping the attribute there still. Wait a minute. What happened to my... Oh, everything was a lie. Not everything. Just a little... Huh. So was my border top actually coming from here? No, I thought... Am I losing my mind? Maybe. What's happening here? There's a border B4 here. But it might be overwritten. Maybe I never saw it. Maybe I just imagined the whole thing. And so now we see the border, but it's a different color. So that was it. The border was being overwritten. And it might be the case that this thing here, P panel, has border color. It's got a border radius, width, and everything. Okay, cool. It's a display flex, but I don't see what, like, it should be a flex column, right? That's fine. Okay, so I have my border here, and let's go here to see what the exact colors for this border are. UI border? Is that a color in Prime View?
think it's a token. I'm not sure if you get the token for free.
Yeah, let's see. Because I would have to do border. I can't do UI border here. That wouldn't. Can I do border? Is that a? It's not a thing. Um, uh, if I. Oh no. Maybe I don't know how to color borders anymore. Give me a second. Border color. No, that's how we would do it. And UI border was a token like built into the
Yeah.
thing, Mary.
I mean, I can get you the color.
Yeah, if it has a color name that would within like yeah, I guess if it's a color within the system,
Yeah.
that would perhaps be the most helpful. I think. And again, all this is sort of just unfamiliarity with what we have here. But I remember also seeing a color set somewhere. I would have thought it was here. Here. And so this is the slate color that we used for the background overall. And then by default, I have a darker, like a noir theme that I copied from here. So by default, we're not those green buttons, but I know that our design is the green button, so I might bring it back soon. Although I forgot, I was gonna ask you, Mary, like in this one, you did not really spend any time kind of getting the color palette down, where in Honeypot you did.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, like maybe let's try using
Whatever we have. Yeah.
So UI border is referring to Slate 200.
And this was already set somewhere.
Yeah. Let me share my screen real quick. So in Figma, you can set up. Oh, I don't know why. Okay, for some reason I can't expand this, or maybe I can. It's just a large file. So when Jesus, my microphone just like.
You just dropped the mic. We heard that loud and clear.
So I was looking for border, right? So when I go to border, it's referring to like surface 300.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, but what's the surface 300? And so I then looked for surface. Surface 300 is, slate 300. So not sure if that's helpful, but
yeah, no, I get it. No, it is kind of helpful. It's just I think I might have to like later on like actually watch these videos because the docs seem very sort of like intense in terms of the reason they probably did this is because to give people the amount of flexibility we need is just the lack of familiarity means for me, I'm just kind of like, oh, what is this? Where do I like? I don't know where to get. For example, so there's this primitive tokens, which are like this, but
so that would be like slate, whatever.
Yeah. And then there's surface, and then there's UI border, which should also be some presence of a token.
That should be like a component token.
Right. And then maybe I can see here where there's a way to get that detail out somehow via Tailwind, which would be very convenient if they had examples of that. So here, so surface is something that's available. Kind of like, I guess their default thing is like slate, which is also available, but then surface becomes a name like primary.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. And then I'm trying to see here whether there's Just scanning for any additional indications of them using a token like border or UI border for color purposes. If not, that's fine. I'm just gonna yeah, I don't see it right off the bat. But yeah, I think Surface 300 is probably what I'll just use for my purpose now, and then deal with it. So
Speaking of microphone,
mhm.
I got a new old microphone from my
Oh,
friend.
okay, yeah. And how's that serving you?
It's great. It's great. I'm very grateful for my friend.
Okay, cool. It's
How does it
convenient.
sound?
It sounds great to me, honestly. Um, I mean, have you used it in other places, like um, Zoom meetings and what have you?
Yes.
Okay. And how has anyone just said volunteered of their own? Oh my God, man, your sound is so
No.
much better than it was yesterday.
No.
Nobody says then it's not real. Then it's not true. Um, so here I'm gonna add some padding. I don't know what the padding height is by default. So here I had expected some padding to show up here, but it hasn't in this panel because I thought content was default. And I thought I should be able to do, unless I need to kind of force this, and that is true. I do need to force it. And this, I think, should help me determine what that is. I think it's 4. Okay, we'll have this looking like what we want it to look like very soon. That looks good to me. This looks good. Now we add that same padding onto the footer. And boom. And then now we make this H full in flex. So let me just try it without the important to see whether that honors it. It doesn't. Let's see if this will honor it. Not my expectation. So let's see. Let's figure out why.
Why do you need to force it in this case?
Yeah. So with this important business, it's because the components by default have their own class, and these are not always taking precedence over what's already defined in this kind of main class here. So ppanel header is the class that the UI system is providing, and it's already pre-styled it for us with a bunch of different style options like border, color, border width, and so on. And then when I want to override them, I can add these additional classes. But if I don't say important, then it gives more precedence to the one defined in here. And when I say important now, then I think when I click here, we should see where are my importance. Weird. I was expecting to see my classes here, but I don't for some reason. But either way, that important is now making the class override whatever's
I
in
see
here.
it under
Oh, there it is, layer utilities. Yeah, I think this is smaller for my. Yeah, there you go, and the important shows up here as a result of that in Tailwind over there, and so that's giving us that. And now, I can actually go through this here and just make sure. So this is H full, just as we want it, and this element. Oh, there's no flex here. I misread. When I saw this, I thought flex was on the entire thing. So there's no flex here, so we should be able to add it ourselves and deal with the fall out of that, if any. So now this component is flex based. Um, and so I guess the only thing, so that's container, content container. This is header. Oh, so this content thing didn't even go here. So there's no, and then where's footer? Oh, that's super weird. That's very, so even though they didn't do the padding business, I mean, they must have a reason for why they did it this way. Just not my expectation, right? Because I would have thought that header and footer would be on the same level. They're not. And so my H full is in here, which makes sense because this thing is not full. This P panel content container. And so how do I style that? There's a content container thing here, which is a pass-through option. So I should be able to PT content container my way here, class equals H full. And I'll start by, again, must be hyphenated. Okay, so hyphenated. And now I feel like we're probably getting, we're not getting what we want. That's fine. But let's fit. Oh, we are getting what we want. Are we? No, we're not getting, because the footer's been pushed out of this view here, this H screen view, which is decidedly not what we want. So let's just get in here and get a sense of what's happening. Like this stuff we did in Honeypot a little later after like we threw together a lot of things, and now. So this H full here is, so this is my entire panel, which has this H full, which is flexed up. And then this has this height. And when this says H full, my expectation was, also, I don't think I necessarily need to be in this mode for this. I can just do this because it's like, it's fine, especially for the height. And this way, at least it's clear to me while debugging, and then maybe I could just jump back and forth. So we're gonna. I heard your mic turn on, Mary.
Well, you mentioned like how like when we did Honeypot, like the stuff came later. Like, is there a reason why you are focused on this right now?
Yeah, it came later because we also, like, I think the layout design you're done later in the process as well, right? And so while I'd worked on some like internals and then it came later. yeah. Or it's your responsibility, if not fault, where here we actually have those components fairly laid out in terms of what their look and feel is.
Okay.
And so my preference is actually to get this out of the way early because not that it matters that much. Like either way, it's fine. It took similar amounts of time. And there I was dealing with a different component library, figuring that out. And here, because we're using a new component library, whose decision was that? We're figuring this out. Although to be fair, either way, I would have forgotten how I'd done it in the previous library and just reference the Honeypot code. Because it's not something these things are typically not something I carry in my heart, one way or another. So it's something that I would have to revisit. But
what do you carry in your heart?
I carry like some JavaScript, I carry like basic JavaScript, if statements, loops, that's, but layouts, I don't carry in my heart as strongly. Because, also like you're using ifs and loops more regularly, whereas the layout, once you have it set, you're not fiddling with the layout as much. So it doesn't get as ingrained or internalized for me in terms of the code. So here's my next thing. Here's my flex layout, which is H full. This is also h full, although but let's see, the fullness of this h full, for whatever reason, does not seem to include footer, right? Like here, footer is down here and it's outside, but content is happy to be here. So I might have to flexify this as well. So that's content container. And this might need to be flex call 2. And now that's being pulled in as we would expect. And that's really what it is, like these nuances. Okay, so let's see if this is all I wanted, right? So this is the entire component. This is the header. This is this, and that's flexed up. And then we have this, and this is taking the full, it's pushing those things out. Or really, this, in this case, is only pushing the footer down. And then out here, this h full is pushing the header up. And this h full is pushing the header, this footer down. And now we have it, I think.
It looks great.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would I think we are getting close to 2 hours.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I would love if we end with like hard coding. How are you doing, Mary?
Okay, yeah, okay. That's I like that. I like this kind of direction. Let's do it. And that could be the first commit too. Give me 1 second to assess something, because visually this border seems darker to me than this. I'm just trying to get around why that is. If I'm using the same things, and if that takes too long, we'll hard code and we'll end it. No worries. It's just that was the last thing that was just on my mind. Okay, there we go. So the border here is this color. Is this color not 300? Is that where the lie is? Or am I, header border B, bottom surface 300. And this border color is over here, which is CBD 5. And here, this is not CBD 5. And so what color are you? E2E. And here's not very clear to see. So I'll just quickly go to, I think it's theming, style mode, colors. So surface is slate, and I should just be able to inspect these, right? Oh no, I should also have them here. Do I not? I don't have it here. So it says no info available, because I feel like I'm not getting the benefits of Tailwind class definitions inside there. So let me do surface 300 here. So now I do have them here. But you don't, it's the variable here, and it doesn't get set. So that's fine. CBD as we expect. And so
it might be 200.
It's not.
It's not?
200 is 556. Oh. Our friend here is E2E.
Oh, what the heck?
Who are you, E2E? So let's see. This here is... No, it's none of these.
I'm like scrolling through the tokens on Figma too.
It's his own...
like 2,000 tokens.
Yeah, it's his own person. I'm okay with... Let's just see here. Okay, I think I messed this up by changing it. Hold on, sorry. I might have messed something up. I might be wrong. Because this here is this. Click here. E2, you know, it is. It is. You're right. It is. My bad. Because I think what happened was when I went on this, I might have clicked on something darker somewhere. So it is 200. Okay, that's great. Now we know. And this is what we call attention to detail, folks. Okay, just noticing it was off. It didn't feel right, right? And now I feel better, even though it's not as clear. But they don't look off, you know. Okay, now I feel good, and let's see how we're doing for time. Yeah, we have plenty of time. What are you talking about? Um, let's bring this back so visually it looks like this, and then let's style the header. But in this case, I kind of want to make it a div because I don't want to put all that styling up here. That's my instinct. That may or may not be the correct instinct to have. And we'll figure that out very soon. So we have how are you doing, Mary, but let's actually get it to look like this. So our size is text XL. And then this is medium. And font family is set. This is set. I think this comes with the other things. So I think this is all good. And now this should look like, yeah, I mean, it's not exact because the sizing on the screen isn't exact, but I think this is the feeling we want. And we have the card, although that took a long time just to get this card right. But it's fine. I think I learned a lot about the system and how to style the inner components or the inner slots that they have. And I like it quite a bit, actually. The simplicity to actually get it was much faster than what it took me with Next UI. And so, but now that I know, I think it won't be as smooth because each component will have its own nuances, but at least I know how to approach it and I know how to get to it faster and quicker. Cool. Yeah, I think that's probably a good spot for us to end. And next time, yeah, I'll just put the components down here, not functional, and then put these components in here, not functional. I might do all the pages, and hopefully should be a bit faster since we got the layout done, and these other things should be a lot more straightforward as I see it.
Cool. Can I quickly walk through the complicated, the
Oh, absolutely.
uncomplicated,
Oh, so you
complicated?
weren't just staring at the screen this whole time?
Yeah. While you stepped away, I was like, I started doing design because I don't want to just stare at the screen. You know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Gotta contribute.
It's good feedback. Yeah. Yeah. All right. What do we got?
It's not that complicated, but essentially it's really just rejigging the order of things. So the primary flow is you tell us about the feelings and then you journal. If you're feeling complicated, it's essentially flipped, in that like you're journaling first. Again, this is copy I would want to see. So it's just like it's one of those days, huh?
Got it.
And then based on what you say or input, then you're essentially like it's deciphering based on like the input. So feeling a mixture of things, and you can also select and deselect. And then the rest is pretty much the same.
Okay. Okay. Can you scroll up to the regular feeling selection screen? This one. Oh. Yeah, it's because I didn't see the comment in here, and I only now realized that you have yellow and red for the range and color of the feeling. Like it's just like I'd forgotten how we got here. Um, and then when I saw the screen that you had on the bottom, which had the full range, I was like,
It is
oh,
very chaotic, like
multicolor.
yeah, it's I'm not sure how I feel about it, but
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think I'd be curious. Like, I wouldn't mind building it this way, and then see how you feel about it
yeah,
once like once you're using it on screen, and whether that's a different feeling or whether it feels because yeah, it looks all over the place for sure, especially with like the selections being inverted and then the
yeah.
non-inverted. That kind of spacing or coloring seems weird on a static screen. I don't know how it'll play on a more
The other thing I was, I guess, trying was like, let me just get rid of this. Like separating it into here's what we identified, just so that at least it's a little bit less chaotic.
oh, and then once you tap something, it goes
Yeah,
it hangs out with its friends up there. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, this feels a lot different. So is this how you put it together first and then you had brought them all together? Is that correct?
yeah.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
Okay, interesting. All right, well, we'll let you pick one, and we'll see how it feels either way.
I think I did that because it was more similar to this, but
Yes.
then like it does feel very overwhelming. So like I think for usability sake, I like
Yeah.
this more.
Yeah, same. That's interesting how it was just that distinction, the invertedness separation does make it feel very different. Would you consider the same UI for the initial screen as well, or would you think like, oh,
Hmm. Yeah, maybe.
because what happens when you're feeling in the middle of the block? Like, which feelings are we showing you? Like, are we showing
What do you
you
mean?
like if you're feeling
Oh,
like,
like
yeah,
middle?
yeah, if you're feeling okay, are we? I'm actually not sure which
Hmm.
collections of feelings we're showing you, and maybe I think that's a task that you can. And initially, that could just be hard coded, right? Like if
Yeah.
you're feeling at one level, here's what you see, two, three, four, and if maybe you can delineate those up front, um, that would help me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Maybe next time we can like take a look at the feelings database and
Okay.
just think about like how we want to categorize things
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking because like most of the feelings are either pleasant or unpleasant. It's more
Right.
about like the intensity of each of them than like there aren't, even though I wrote like if neutral, there aren't really any neutral feelings. Like it's at most it's like slightly pleasant or slightly unpleasant.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I was thinking like neutral essentially means like lower intensity on both end um, of the spectrum, but we can talk about that next time.
Okay. Cool. All
All
right.
right, all right. That was that was good.
Was it
It
good? Just
was.
just even watching this guy trying to figure out the layouts.
No, it was good.
Was it okay? All right.
It felt like
Okay.
progress.
It is progress because I'm glad we just figured that part out completely because that it's on all the screens.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, thank you for coming to Product Like It's Friday on Friday. And we'll see you at a random time or next Friday.
Who knows? Nobody knows.
All right, lead us out.
Let's go home. I mean, there's nothing else. I think we got it. We'll see you at a random time in the future. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after, maybe Friday. And let's go home.